DIY family, and welcome back to another video. Let's play Never Have I. Go ahead and go first. Write down in the comments what you never have done before. And keep it clean, please. I don't want to blush. It's a thing. So go ahead and tell me what you never have done. Because I've never made this. I both made it, I did it, but I messed up 4 or 5 times. So I messed up a couple of times, but I made that. And you can too. I show you how. Let's get into the footage. So this is my sewing measuring tape, and this works the best for me. That's why I'm using it. You can use a regular measuring tape if that makes you happy. Go for it. Basically what I did was I measured the opening, the length, and the depth. I took those measurements. Let's go that way. I took those measurements and I put it on this picture that I found on the internet. I transferred my length, I transferred my height, and I transferred my width. From here, this allowed me to know how many cuts I needed of what. So I need 2 cuts, one for the front board, one for the back board. Then I needed to cut 3 boards, and those needed to be the length minus the width of this board. Then that got me this board, the base board, the middle shelf, and the top shelf. And I'm going to cut guardrails. I need these rails the same as this. Then all I have to do is take this board, place it on top, make sure it's even here, and mark it. And there you go. We need 8 pieces.
I have a tip for you. That board that we measured and cut, well, I use that over and over again to make my other cuts. And then that way I know all the boards measure the same. And I have another tip for you. I line all my boards together to sand all at once. I'm using 120 grit sandpaper because we just want to knock down the little wood spurs that happen after you cut the wood. And for those edges, I find the sanding blocks help with the gripping, and it's squishy, so it helps get those corners and around those curves a little bit better. Supplies that you'll need: safety glasses, of course, brad nailer or a hammer and nails, and any glue. Well, I'm using Gorilla Glue only because that's what I have on hand. I happen to love this DeWalt brad nailer I got for a gift from my family. I'll link it down in the description below. I'm not sponsored by any way of the imagination, but I love it. Now it is time to make these 3 shelves. Before I glue or nail anything in place, I want to dry fit everything together because I have made many mistakes in the past, and I just went ahead and started gluing only to find out that they don't fit together. So we're going to dry fit them first, and then we are going to glue it and brad nail them together. We do projects like this on our channel all the time, and it is to inspire and empower you to create a space that you love. And hey, if this resonates with you or you're liking the content of this video, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, and then you can join our DIY family. And if you like the video, that tells YouTube to send it to more people so we can grow our DIY family. And if you find that your brad nailer isn't pushing the nails down far enough, or when you do the hammer and nails, if it's not going to go down far enough, you can use a punch and a hammer just to kind of set it below the surface. And we do that so when you go to sand it later, you're not hitting the head of the nail. And guys, shelf 1 is complete. Now we need to make 2 more, but what I'm showing you here is the sides, and we're using those sides just so things don't fall off the shelf, but it also helps give the board stability. So when we place the heavy things on them later, they won't warp the board. Cleaning off the glue right now is going to save me a step in the future, so I'm just going to take a moment and wipe it down. And yes, this is the last shelf. We ended up not using it, and you'll see later on why, but this experience is always good to have.
It's not even loud.
And now I'm trying to figure out my spacing for the shelves. So I'm trying to see the height of that middle shelf, and I'm going to just kind of use the products that I think that's going to be on the lower shelf. And hey, why not throw everything that's in my laundry cart on the shelf? Might as well get the spacing right? And before we can even think about the spacing of the shelves, we have to place that front board on. That front board is going to be the face of the cabinet. And we're going to build the face of the cabinet the same way that we built the shelves. We're going to glue it and we're going to tack it in place with the brad nail. The brad nail is just going to help me hold it in place because it's just me building it. And later on, we are going to come back and drill pilot holes and place screws in just for a little bit more stability.
Okay, I think I'm going to change my design. I originally designed 3 shelves, but the more that I play around with the placement, like, these aren't the best, but this is what I have on hand right now. But when you put what you normally use on that top shelf, my goal is when I pull out that shelf, everything that I use for laundry is in that top shelf. So when I pull it out, I can get my laundry soap, I can get the bleach, I can get the fabric softener, whatever I have on this top shelf. But if I do that, I have to bring it down from the top, which means I only have a small amount of real estate on the bottom shelf. So if this is what it looks like for 2 shelves right now. The 3rd shelf, if I put a 3rd shelf in there, I could probably get small stuff in there, but then I can't really get a lot of other stuff in here. For instance, the spray and wash, the shout, whatever, I won't be able to put it in here. See, there's just not enough room height-wise. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just do 2 shelves. Just do 2 shelves, one for the top and one for the bottom, and that will be it. So we made an extra shelf for nothing. But if you do this and you want to do 3 shelves, it would look like that. I think when I do the kitchen cabinet upstairs, when I make a spice rack and the baking pullout, that's what I'll do. I'll do a couple of different shelves, but right now that it doesn't work. chalk it up, lesson learned. We'll just do 2 shelves, the bottom shelf and the top shelf, and then we'll have our stabilizers up here. So let's get back into the project.
Now that I know I just want 2 shelves, I'm marking where I want the shelf to go equal on both sides. And here's a tip. This is what I found that worked best for me when I was working by myself. I turned it on its side and then I was able to add the shelf in. And I added the shelf before I placed that back panel in. It's just easier to get to the pieces.
Okay, so I have all the parts that where I want them. And I just brad nailed them in place because it's just me building it and I only have 2 sets of hands. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill small pilot holes in it and then drill some screws in it just to kind of keep it a little bit more stable than brad nails. And then hopefully it will make it nice and sturdy for the heavy stuff.
And here's another tip for you. You want to drill the pilot holes. It helps the wood not to split when you place the screws into position. And I'm placing the screws into the sides and not the plywood. This universal screw is what I have been using to help build all my stuff lately, and I like them a lot.
All right, now it's time to flip it over and do the other side.
And now I'm placing the back panel onto our pull-out shelf. I'm making sure the sides are square before I glue them and brad nail them in place. And here's another tip. I got a whole package of these wooden sticks from the hardware store that I used to spread out the glue.
Okay, we are going to do what we did on the other side. We're going to drill little pilot holes and then we're going to place screws just to keep it nice and secure. All right, guys, our next step is to see if it fits. Let's go. You ready? It works. Okay. What I realized, and we're going to have to make a slight modification, is we have to put a drawer pull on it. And we're going to put it on the bottom. So we're going to have to take about 1/4 of an inch off. We'll just saw that off. Not a big deal. But then that will give us enough lift for the drawer pull, and we'll just pull it out and go back in. And it's slightly tight. So might have to do some sanding around, but other than that, for my first attempt ever at making a pull-out cabinet drawer, I think I did a pretty good job. Our next step is to install the drawer rods, whatever you call them. I'll see you in a couple of seconds. For me, it's going to be a day.
I found this drawer glide at the hardware store, and it happens to be 1 inch smaller than my drawer. They didn't have the exact size. I'm sure I could have ordered it online, And because I have a frame around my cabinets, I need these spacers, and it's going to allow me to place these drawer glides away from the walls so they can slide in and out and not be encumbered by that frame. And now that we have the spacers in, we can screw the glides into place. I had to modify these bottom locking units. I had to place a block and brad nail it in place so I can have something to screw it into.
Okay guys, now it's time to see if this even works. I had to modify this, so I'll tell you what I did. I don't know if I did it right. I don't know. I did what I could do. How about that? So let's see if it works first, and then I'll tell you what I did. How about that? I am nervous. Oops. Just so I can see it. I heard a click. Oh. Oh. Okay. I heard a click. Why are you not closing? Why are you sticking? Why are you sticking? Okay, nothing that a little sanding can't fix. So, oh, I have never done this before. Never, ever, ever done this before. I feel like it might be slightly advantageous of me to do this given my skill set with carpentry. But I definitely did it. I think when I do this next time, and trust me, I waffle back and forth. I am never going to do this again. And okay, I can do this again, but what am I going to do different? I think I'm going to make it 1/4 inch smaller, whatever 1/4 inch in centimeters is. I'm going to make it smaller. I'm going to make the opening smaller. I'm going to make the depth a little bit smaller. And I am going to make the sides a little bit smaller. So if you are doing this at home, definitely give yourself some room around your cabinet, and then depth wise too as well. But we did it. Well, it's not going to open now because it's latched and I'm sitting down on the ground, and it's pretty good. If you want to watch the rest of the laundry room playlist, of course, I will list it somewhere on the screen. I hope you have a wonderful day. Subscribe, comment, share, do all the things, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.